What are some simple yet incredibly disturbing or scary facts? Number 1. There's a 1 in 3 chance police will never identify your killer if you're murdered in the US. Number 2. Bored ducklings can become cannibals. Number 3. Moving back the start time for school in an area resulted in 70% less car accidents. Similarly, at each daylight saving, heart attacks and accidents decrease with an hour of extra sleep and increase with an hour less of sleep. Number 4. Egyptian mummies wouldn't be so rare today if the Victorian British hadn't eaten most of them. Number 5. Once you have the first symptom of rabies, it is too late to reverse. Number 6. Statistically speaking, if you are a woman and get murdered, it was most likely by a family member, partner, or ex-partner in your own home. If you are a man and get murdered, it was most likely by an acquaintance or stranger in a public place. Number 7. Capgras syndrome is a mental delusion where you believe that the people closest to you have been replaced by imposters. Number 8. You can be seriously injured from a sneeze. Number 9. Less than 10% of all species even have the possibility of being fossilized, and even more will never be discovered. So we only know about the existence of about 3% of all macroscopic life. Number 10. If you have a parasite in your body, there's only a slim chance you'll know about it before it pops out of your skin or leaves through the back door. Number 11. If given access to it, butterflies will happily drink blood. Number 12. Sharks have been around for at least 420 million years, meaning they have survived 4 of the big 5 mass extinctions. That makes them older than humanity, older than Mount Everest, older than dinosaurs, older even than trees. Yet we could potentially see them extinct in our lifetime. Number 13. NASA simulated the response effort to a killer asteroid and determined they would need a minimum of 5 years' notice to have any chance of deflecting it. More realistically 10. We'd basically have to identify the thing leaving the Kuiper Belt. Number 14. Body integrity disorder. The PubMed.gov website describes it as the extremely rare phenomenon of persons who desire the amputation of one or more healthy limbs or who desire a paralysis, adding, some of these persons mutilate themselves, others ask surgeons for an amputation or for the transection of their spinal cord. Psychologists and physicians explain this phenomenon in quite different ways, but a successful psychotherapeutic or pharmaceutical therapy is not known. Number 15. 6 nuclear weapons have been lost and never recovered since the 1950s. Number 16. There's someone in your life that you've seen or talked to for the very last time. Number 17. Pigs will eat you when they get the chance, and they won't wait until you're dead. Number 18. You can condition someone with 0 personal or family history of mental illness into having some very severe mental illnesses within about a week. Number 19. If a predator tries to kill you, it's just trying to survive. If a herbivore tries, it genuinely wants to kill you. Number 20. A male honeybee's ejaculation is so strong, it makes his dick explode, killing him. Number 21. There are people currently trapped or kidnapped, living in someone's house, abused, used as a slave, sexually abused. They could be right next door and you'd have no idea, a completely normal neighbor with a dark secret. Number 22. You have no way of really knowing if everyone experiences reality and consciousness the same way you do. Number 23. If a panda finds a fresh carcass, they'll eat it. Number 24. If you live in a major city, there is a nuke aimed at you. Number 25. The entire planet could be immediately destroyed by any one of a number of cosmic events that we have no way of seeing or stopping, like rogue black holes. Worse, there are some events we can very much see coming, but do absolutely nothing about. Number 26. Despite literally all war propaganda from every country saying otherwise, you are not going to make an individual impact in glorious battle and die valiantly in a hail of bullets. Statistically, you are overwhelmingly more likely to be killed by an explosive device launched miles away by a vehicle you will never see, long before you ever get a chance to pull the trigger. Number 27. The world invests more money in Viagra and Botox than in the study of Alzheimer. Number 28. If you own a gun, the person you are most likely to shoot with it, by a mile, is yourself. Number 29. We have trace amounts of iron, gold, nickel, and silver within our bloodstream, which means with enough people, you could drain them of their blood, dilute it down to separate it, and eventually be able to make a full ingot of iron, gold, nickel, and silver. Number 30. You have probably talked to a murderer at some point in a bar or a grocery store and never knew it. Number 31. One day you will die. One day everyone you knew will die. One day you'll be completely forgotten. Number 32. If it's sufficiently dark, you will hallucinate your reflection as a different entity, and it will appear to start moving on its own. Number 33. If chronic wasting disease jumps to humans, the zombie apocalypse may become a real thing. Number 34. Marriage either ends in death or divorce. Number 35. A human head can remain conscious for around 4 to 20 seconds after being decapitated. The decapitated head can blink and can change expressions. Number 36. The average age of a combat soldier during the Vietnam War was 19. Number 37. If you get a blood transfusion and get the wrong type of blood, ABO/AB, one of the symptoms is a sense of impending doom. Number 38. There is a genetic disease called fibrodysplasia ossificans progressiva. When tissue is damaged, it is replaced with bone. Growths form underneath their skin and their joints lock solid, so over time, those affected slowly become encased in a prison of bone just beneath their own skin. They usually have to choose between sitting or standing up for the rest of their life. By the end of their life, they have to drink every meal through a straw and can barely move. Number 39. Over 90% of serial killers choose their victims through sexual desire. In fact, many serial killers have been caught because they return to the body of their victims to pleasure themselves. Number 40. Bacteria and viruses can be frozen for millions of years and still be viably infectious, and having never encountered humanity before, could have no end of catastrophic results should they be uncovered and manage to infect a person or animal. Number 41. Your eyes have a separate immune system from the rest of your body. If they get damaged in such a way that it affects anything other than your eyes, your regular immune system can attack the damage and will not recognize them, meaning your own body can permanently blind you. What's worse, your body cannot tell the difference between either eye. If one of them gets infected or damaged, your immune system can attack your healthy eye and take away your sight entirely. Number 42. The men of the ship Essex, the true event that inspires the story, Moby Dick, avoided islands after being shipwrecked for fear of cannibals. The islands were settled, and landing there would have brought salvation to the survivors. Ironically, because of this bypass, the men ran out of food and were forced to eat each other for survival. Number 43. Cannibals find the palm of the hand the tastiest. Number 44. Elmer McCurdy was a failed Old West outlaw. His preserved body was put on display in a traveling carnival, and years later, he was eventually assumed to be a mannequin until he was used on set for the TV show The $6 Million Man. His arm accidentally fell off during the shoot, revealing bone and muscle and that he was a corpse, not a mannequin. Number 45. After assaulting his blindfolded victims, the Golden State Killer would be super duper quiet and pretend like he was gone, and right when the poor victims would start to move towards the phone or try to untie themselves, he would scare them. Number 46. One reason that crows and ravens are associated with death is because they would often follow armies as they marched to battle. Being both carrion birds and extremely intelligent, they realized that a large group of armed men marching in one direction meant that there would be a tasty meal of corpses to eat soon afterwards. Number 47. Crocodiles can gallop like a horse. Number 48. Imagine being totally aware of someone preforming CPR, but you physically can't move or respond. Well, that's what happens when you get bitten by a blue-ringed octopus. You have approximately 6 minutes between being bitten and someone starting CPR to keep your heart and lungs functioning to ensure you survive, all whilst being totally aware of what is happening to you. Number 49. The astronauts aboard the Space Shuttle Challenger most likely didn't die until they hit the water, miles below the initial explosion. Number 50. If the sun exploded right now, you would be blissfully unaware of it for just over 8 minutes, while the energy travels at the speed of light to get to you. Number 51. There's a spider that gives you a 3-hour-long boner before you die from its bite. Number 52. It wasn't until 1987 that the American Academy of Pediatrics declared it unethical to operate on newborns without anesthesia. Until surprisingly recently, the medical community felt it would be dangerous to give infants anesthesia and/or believed that they didn't feel pain. Number 53. Polar bears are the only animals that are thought to actively hunt humans. Number 54. The human body can be drained of blood in 8.6 seconds given adequate vacuuming systems. Number 55. Female mummies in ancient Egypt were always more decomposed than their male counterparts. They discovered that this was because male bodies were embalmed a lot sooner than female bodies. Female bodies were kept at the family home until they started to decompose in order to avoid necrophilia at the embalmers. Number 56. There are upwards of 300 active serial killers in the world. Number 57. A single tiger has killed over 436 people in India. Number 58. Since 2007, at least 20 detached human feet have been found on the coasts of the Salish Sea. Number 59. There's a parasite that enters a fish's mouth, eats the tongue, and replaces itself as the fish's new tongue. Number 60. After getting stung by a cone snail, you don't feel the sting for a little bit. There is no anti-venom, and it can be lethal. Treatment is basically keeping the victim alive until the venom wears off. Number 61. When creating the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland, they couldn't create skeletons that looked realistic enough, so they used real human skeletons. They've since removed all of them, except one. Number 62. Mount Everest is covered in frozen corpses because removing them is very unsafe and time-consuming. They are easily viewed from the climbing routes, and some are used as trail markers.